we lost. So I'll do the reintroductions very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, J.P. Michaels here, reporting to you live from the Academy of Enlightenment, where the faithfully fashionable come to learn that without faith in yourself, you don't have a chance to heaven. And without style, you don't have a chance in hell. I'm just adjusting this. And my guest has all that and more, Josh the Loser.
Oh.
Well, Josh, I don't know if I agree with the last part, and I kind of want to ask you about that. How did you arrive at Josh the Loser? What was that all about? What was that all about?
So it actually started as a joke. Back when like Twitter started off, I didn't have Twitter for a long time, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you don't have Twitter. I'm gonna make one for you." And she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna name it this, but then you can change it whenever you want." And so as a joke, she called it Josh the Loser, and I just never changed it.
And you just never changed it.
That must have been about 15 years ago.
Wow. Well, you certainly are owning it. You're certainly owning the name, that's for sure. So, as I explained to Josh, ladies and gentlemen, this is my platform, is his platform. I don't think I can say that in Spanish because I don't speak Spanish anyway. Do you speak Spanish, Josh?
I do not.
No, I don't either.
English only.
English only. I speak English and French and a few others, but not Spanish for some reason. Anyway.
Oh, gosh. Let me figure this out here.
We got to get you a tripod.
I do. How's this? Hold on. No, that's not it.
No, yep, there.
What I should have done is charge my phone, so now it has the balance on the charger.
Oh, is that it?
Well,
I would hold it if I were you.
There we go.
Okay. Yes, that's one. I have a checklist of things on my show days, what I have to do.
Yeah.
And I sort of think, okay, charge. I've got cords everywhere.
I actually just got out of a studio session about 5 minutes ago.
Really? Wow.
Crunched it to the wire.
Well, listen, I wish you would have said something. We could have delayed it a little bit longer, but anyway, now you're here. So listen, what were you doing? What were you doing in the studio today, if I may ask?
Just final touches on the album I have coming out. The album Sad Summer.
Sad Summer. And I love the very simple introduction you gave to it, because so explain Sad Summer to the listeners.
So it's a collection of freestyles that I made in summer 2020. Essentially, the idea was to release an album of these like really rough freestyle demos, kind of unpolished and very rough, just because they're freestyles. But then the last
could you explain to the listeners what you mean by freestyle? I mean, I'm sure they have an idea, but specifically how you're using it in the context of your art.
So the song, best example is the song that I just released called Recess. That's the first single off the album Sad Summer.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got it. I've been using it in the promos, but anyway, I keep interrupting you. Excuse me.
No problem.
Wow.
Maybe this angle will be better. There we go. So Recess, how Recess came along is a good example of how I make my music. That kind of came about, I invited a couple friends over to just jam. My friend plays the guitar, I was singing. But what I do is I have everything plugged into GarageBand. So my friend playing the guitar is plugged into GarageBand, and I'm also plugged in. So every so often I would just hit record throughout the jam. So Recess was just a couple-minute segment of a full jam that we had.
So it's almost like a sculptor would chip away at the block of marble, let's say, to reveal what is the figure that they're going to create. Is that the idea?
No, exactly. My original idea was to leave it rough But then in the last few months, during winter, I had a lot of time to sit with the songs and think about how they could grow. So the gentleman playing the guitar on Recess, his name's Cam. He also works with us at Tokyo Smoke. Me and him have been working closely together on mixing the album and adding different elements to the songs to make them actually full songs rather than just these rough freestyles. So even though the vocal recordings are from the initial freestyle from last summer, we really cleaned them up and turned them into full songs, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, and I really like that. It's a very organic approach to the process, which because that could you could have had one session, or you could have maybe done several jam sessions and just did a pulling from each one of those sessions. And
no, exactly. I really a lot of people like to describe it like sometimes you make a song and you don't like it and you just rip the painting, as they say.
Yes.
I chose to keep the painting with all the mistakes in it and just work with what we had. Okay. And try and turn those initial freestyles into songs.
Now, are there people that strictly freestyle in their careers? Or like, are they known as freestylists, so to speak?
There are a lot of artists like that I've listened to. Mostly they would be rappers. Like freestyle rappers.
Right, exactly. I have to say though, Josh, I really take umbrage to the words free and stylist in the same sentence.
Yeah, there you go. Didn't think of it that way, but for sure.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So Josh, where are you and what are you doing now? Where do you come from? Where did you grow up? How did you get to Toronto?
So I was born in Oshawa, Ontario. That's where I went to high school, the high school in Whitby.
Right.
Then I was really big into football when I was younger. Ended up getting a football scholarship to a school in Aurora called St. Andrews College.
Oh, I know St. Andrews, yes.
Yep. So I went there for 2 years.
Okay, it's a very fine school.
Great experience that was.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
And then after that, I ended up getting a football scholarship to the University of Manitoba.
Wow.
So I ended up being in Winnipeg for about 4 years.
How was that?
Yeah.
What's Winnipeg like?
Winnipeg was cool.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winnipeg. It was very cold.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed my time there. I think for the time of my life, it just made sense. Like, it was kind of a small town with a big city feel. So it was a cool, place to be in university years.
So did music happen between touchdowns or what?
Yeah.
Like, where did the music come in?
So I started making some kind of jokey songs at St. Andrews. Not jokey, but just very much for fun.
Jamming maybe, or
yeah. I started off wanting to just make beats. I thought beat making was the way to go. I didn't do it for very long. I just thought that was the way. That's what I wanted to do.
And would you explain to the listeners beats? Because I have a very wide-ranging appeal of listeners.
Yeah.
So they might know pleat, but they may not know beat.
Got it. Essentially, I wouldn't use the word beat for the music I'm making and putting out now. Those are more put together differently. When I say beat, I mean more of a hip hop way.
Okay.
Where it's there's a certain structure to a hip hop song.
Right. Okay.
Which I kind of stuck to for the first part of making music, just because that's what I listened to at the time.
Right. And also, my understanding from another artist, a friend of mine, there are strictly people who write beats where you can go to a beat library and purchase it and use it. Is that correct?
100%. Yeah.
Was that something you were interested in at one time?
Yeah. I didn't start off thinking I was going to be a vocalist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where did you discover your voice? Singing in the shower after the game?
Yeah. Honestly,
I don't know.
I don't really know. I just
Wow, that's amazing.
I just kept making songs on my laptop by myself for years. So all through Winnipeg, I was making songs.
Was it comforting? Like, was it something that you did out of, was it a comforting activity for you as well? I mean,
for sure. I knew I loved music more than the average listener.
Right.
Just football took up so much of my time. I just naturally took the music when football ended.
Right.
Right. I didn't really make a decision about it.
Yes.
It just kind of filled, it just filled
sounds
the spot.
like it chose you.
Yeah. It just filled the spot that was there.
Right. What was it? Was it the feeling of it? Was filling your life with music after you had it filled with football? What's the difference, like in terms of you as a person? And was it feed? I'm sure it feeds different parts of your psyche and your emotions and your makeup. But was it as satisfying? Was it more satisfying, less satisfying in terms of the music versus the football, or is it a different type of satisfaction?
It's definitely a different type. Like playing a show feels like playing a game, a big game.
Okay.
But in football, that happens every single Sunday.
Right.
And music, you really got to work for that and try and get that, and maybe not do the ones that don't suit you, or try and time for ones that would really help you. There's this whole aspect to it that's really different, where it's not as so scheduled, and so you don't get that rush that often. So it's hard. You're kind of.
I know. It's difficult I remember when I was doing a long-running show here in Toronto, and every show was different because every audience is different. I opened Phantom of the Opera when it opened in Toronto back in 1989 at the Pantages Theatre. Anyway, the point is that you never allow your performance level energy to get below a certain level, because you just have to get it back up again in order to do the performance. It's a real grind, and you're right. I don't think it's a worse or better situation, but I can see where I've gone through dry times in my career when getting to that performance level is a real chore, because it's so much focus, it's so much intensity within yourself, because you are virtually expressing yourself. So what are some of your game strategies, as it were, in performing? And are there any? I don't mean to continue this parallel connection to football, but I think it's really important that I don't think it's all that far removed from one another in terms of the dedication, the emotion that might be certainly in the win, or if you have a good feel you've had a good show. So take us through that, because you have a very unique perspective of being, I'm going to say semi-professional football, and a professional performer.
I think the biggest thing that made it connect for me was when I realized. So there was a time in Winnipeg where I realized I don't want to do music by myself. Like the sounds that I'd rather put my voice on top of are more of what I listen to, which was more band-driven music.
Ah, okay.
So I started a band with a few friends in Winnipeg. We just jammed. We just did some stuff. But then when I came back to Toronto, I realized, okay, that's how I like making music. With a group of people, like a team, like how football is.
I know exactly what you're saying in terms of the team effort. I'm currently, I'm not going to say anything about it, but I'm currently part of a team as well I'm going to say of creatives. And it's that kind of thing. It's that, and it's a feeding off of each other, but it's almost like a banquet a smorgasbord or a potluck. Everybody brings something to the table, and then you all take part of what everybody's brought, and you've got a show, you've got a song, you've got an album.
For sure.
You've got a career.
So I think that's what kind of grew. I started another band here in Toronto. Kind of took a little pause during the COVID stuff because we were really regulars at the rehearsal factory.
Okay.
We went there every Tuesday for 4 hours for about 2 years. And that's the main difference between my sound from the album I dropped in 2019 to this album, Sad Summer, was the hours spent making up songs 4 hours a week with 4 other people. It really changed everything about how I sound and how I want to sound and how I wanted my music to sound.
Well, can you play us some of the Sad Summer?
Yep. I'll play the intro right now.
I feel awkward talking about something that maybe a few people, but I did use it in some of the promos. So
Should I play Recess now?
Oh, I mean yes, Recess, absolutely, because I really think going into our third lockdown, as it was announced, I think people are really, really gravitate towards this. I don't know if it's just serendipitous or not, but this could be a very prophetic song for those who hear it during this second lockdown or third lockdown. Oh, thank you. The found Sasha. Thank you, Lady B.
Thank you.
My friend. Yeah, she's loving our discussion.
Awesome. What's up, Ratty? What's up, Mike?
Thanks, guys, for joining.
The Winnipeg crew.
Is it? Welcome, guys. I hope you have some sunshine there. We're getting a little bit. It's freaking cold today, though.
Yeah. Hey, Kev.
Hi, JK. How are you?
All right.
Have you caught Kevin's vocabulary class? Do you know Kevin? JK Kenny?
No. I was saying hi to a different Kevin.
Oh, okay. Okay, Kevin. Anyway. Catch Kevin on his TikTok. It's
funny.
He gives a vocabulary class.
Nice.
It's very funny. It's very funny. I'm having a good time with it.
See if I can get this here.
Sure. So you said that the transition from your football days into your music was really quite a natural progression for you.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no questions asked. It just was an extension of what you were doing, which really speaks to, if nothing else, the commitment that one requires to excel, period. Whatever that is, whether it's, I can't imagine how much practice you did on the football field, but I can well imagine.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's.
I got the song queued up now. Should we go
great?
for it?
Super. And maybe if you we'll just listen to it, and then maybe you could make some. You could comment on it.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe what was going through your head when you were writing.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Or not writing.
Or not writing. Exactly. Yeah, that's another good one.
All right, let me know if it's too loud or something here.
Sure, absolutely. You could turn it up a little bit, Josh.
I wanna go outside. I feel like a kid again. I feel like a kid again. I wanna go outside. I feel like a kid again. I feel like a kid again. I wanna go outside with my friends. I wanna play. I wanna go outside with my friends. I wanna play.
Well, that's nice.
Like I'm a kid again.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we are listening to Recess by JoshtheLoser. It's an album that's coming out called Sad Summer. We have a question here, Josh. What does it say? I'm having trouble reading it. Compare the music scene going from Winnipeg to Toronto. Very good question. I can't see the name because it's escaped me, but we're being asked here, do you feel that your style flourished more in Toronto because of more opportunities compared to your time in Winnipeg? But I don't know if that's a fair question or not, only because I got the impression while you were in Winnipeg, it was pretty well all football. Is that correct?
Well, a lot of people from Winnipeg know me from another scene as well. I also threw parties.
Okay.
So people did see me like on stage with a mic in my hand, other than music.
Okay. Okay. So, well, you're a man of many talents. Then you also host.
Yeah.
Are you a DJ?
No. Yeah, I'm just worked closely with a DJ friend of mine, John Lambo. And yeah, they opened up a club, and me and him ran a Friday night there.
Here's the question: what was the catalyst that pushed you from, if there was a push, from football into music, where you made that transition, or you crossed over, as it were?
I guess it was the events. I thought about, even though my music isn't party music, it just had me thinking about music more. I was around it more. I thought about it more. I thought about how people feel more, about which DJs I would want at my party to make people feel what. I was really starting to think about how music made people feel.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's kind of what made me, I can also make people feel stuff. Maybe not party stuff, but
right. Exactly.
Go directly more question, like more often doesn't also mean growth in music. Like, I think I grew a lot in Winnipeg because the opportunities were easier to get. Right. It's a smaller place.
Right. Well, also, you would have a wide range of networking through your football there as well, I would imagine.
It was a very different scene. I feel like when I entered the party scene, I left the football scene entirely.
Right.
There was a little...
Can you give us the framework of time? What time period are we looking at here?
Was 2014, 15, and 16.
2014, 15, 16? Okay,
yeah,
so it's not all that long ago.
No.
Okay. Good. Well, that's fairly fresh. So this whole transition, you're really still in you're really in the tumble of the next transition then. You know,
definitely.
You're well into it, but it's still...
I think maybe I released that a little prematurely. When I think about all the effort I put into this album, I would have been then, but I think I just didn't really know. So,
in the same vein as the last question about one place versus another, take us through what you did differently in this album from the first album. What was the title of the first album, by the way?
The album, which is called Loser.
Okay. Oh, okay. That one. That was the title. Yes. Very effective.
Plain black background.
Yeah, I used it. I love it. So, what did you do differently?
Sound. I didn't really think about anything else but the sound. That's all. It wasn't until this album where I thought, okay, how do I think these sounds are visually? Even the name Sad Summer, it's all one cohesive feeling.
Right.
Maybe expressed in different ways, but it's mostly one feeling. Where Loser was a more broad spectrum of feelings. There's a dance song on there. There's a sad song on there. It's more different.
Right.
So I think like what drew me towards like the sunflower that I'm going with the whole aesthetic of Sad Summer is like
hope,
like darkness from before, and now it's like, all right, here it is in its full bloom. Here it is. Here's my sound
right.
out of the darkness, out of that black background, out of that white.
Wow, that's very effective. That's and probably prophetic in a way of, because if that was your vision, that sort of drove your or got you to create all these wonderful creative juices flowing, that's a pretty strong image to carry with you through a project from beginning to end, because I gather that's sort of, it was always a process of development or discovery, if you will, but there's always a core element. Who is one person who's one person that helped you through getting you into this direction? Was there any one person that had that? Was it anyone in your band that you had that sort of?
Definitely the whole band. Like,
yeah.
Even though we didn't play a show or drop an album, just being that many people as dedicated as you, it just makes the buttons work without thinking about it. It really just, it was like I was going to the gym. Every Tuesday we went to Rehearsal Factory. We were working out. If it sounded terrible, we jammed through it. If it sounded good, we jammed through it. It just, we forced it.
Yeah. And that's what it is. That's the discipline. And so
we love jamming. Yeah. We love jamming, and jamming should always be fun, but sometimes it's actually not fun because you're doing it so much. But those are the things, do it like the gym.
Right.
So I think just being around that group of people, my buddy Garrett Well Done, who's also a DJ producer, he produced one of the tracks, the dance track off of my last album, off of Loser.
Right.
The drummer in the band. Then my friend Jordan, he's actually playing the bass line on Recess, which is really nice.
Okay. The whole song is, it really is evocative of a lazy, hazy summer day that, but for whatever reason, you're not outside. And I think of a time when I had the mumps as a kid.
We recorded it outside.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, wow.
So it was during lockdown.
Oh, that's clever.
We weren't really having people around.
Right.
The Rehearsal Factory, but I was really craving a jam. I had to jam. So I thought, okay, why don't I bring everyone over and we just go on my balcony?
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, we just
wow, you're lucky neighbors.
Yeah, and it was excruciatingly hot that day. It turned into not being that fun after a while, but I'm glad we got reached.
Yeah, because the best laid plans.
Yeah, so I guess the came of the topic of the song as well.
What's the hardest moment that you've faced so far in your life, Josh? That has touched you in a way that affects your art?
I think the first maybe year or even two after coming back from Winnipeg was tough. Living a really different lifestyle in Winnipeg, I think being away from home led me to be a lot more careless.
Yes.
With myself and others.
Right.
And I think that just built up, and then when I came back to Toronto, I really just shut myself off a bit. And then I ended up working in my dad's family company, yes. And so I was just doing warehouse work, 5 a.m. everything. I just kind of said to myself, I'm not going to sulk. I'm just going to work if I'm going to be, alone and in this mood.
Right.
So I think back to that time was, definitely really.
It's kind of soul killing, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. So how did you, who or what were the people that helped you overcome this?
Definitely my father.
Oh wow, that's so special. Wow.
Especially working in the company, like right next to him, right? It was really spending a lot of time alone, away from family in Winnipeg, to
Right.
working side by side every day.
Yeah, that's tricky, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was good. It was good. It made
So what's the lesson? What's the lesson you learned, my friend? What's the lesson you learned in all that? The key lesson.
It sounds so corny, but yeah, you can actually just put your head down and work hard and get things. I always thought there was more opportunity involved in attaining things, but it's some opportunity, but also hard work. And I didn't realize how much of that you can make your own opportunity with the hard work. That's kind of what I've learned.
Well, it sounds like to me what you're referring to two. I call it hard work, smart work. A lot of people work hard, but they don't work smart. And it sounds like even something as it would appear to be unrelated, but even the plays that you would have done, figured out on the playing field as a football player, all of that strategic and that jockeying and strategy planning, and that's all part of it. That's all part of it. That's the smart work.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what you were doing by pulling away was some of the smart work, and that is, getting your ducks in a row, getting your, and getting rid of, sort of separating the wheat from the shaft and getting rid of what you don't need.
Yeah.
And
can I play a song that kind of touches on that? That office.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear it. Yes, absolutely.
Before we come off this topic, I think it'd be nice to play it now.
No, I'm so glad you interjected. Thank you. That was an excellent question. I wish I knew who. I will see maybe who answered.
His name
But
is Ratty.
Ratty, good question, Ratty. Thank you. Maybe I'll get him to write me questions. No, it was a very good question, though.
Yeah,
that comparison
that was a good one.
Well, because we do live in a world where people move all over the place. Not just province to province, but country to country. Not so much now, but
yeah. All right.
This isn't. What is this called?
This song's called "Responsible."
Responsible.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, responsible. Bye.
Is it okay sideways like this? Is that okay?
For now, again. Well,
for the song, and then I'll.
Absolutely.
All right.
You bet. You can do whatever.
All right, let's do this here.
I'll just look at myself so I don't get dizzy.
All right. Don't like that noise. All right, there we go. I'm trying to be responsible. I'm trying to be responsible. I've got to get my shit together. Looking out for you. I've got to do that shit for me. I've got to be responsible. 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 Yeah, yeah.
I've been in my fields too. I've been perfecting my craft, trying to be the best in my field too. I've been swiping field too. See my ex swipe left and shit. My heart turned cold like hockey sticks. Feel like Superman Metropolis. 8 girlfriends, I should have been an octopus. I'm so high, you might need binoculars. I pick apart the pockets cause I dip around the sloppy stuff. I dip it out with a sloppy slut. Oh wait, that's me, yeah, I'm the slut. Call it what you want to cause I'm trying to beat it up. I'm trying to eat it up. I'm just trying to scoot it up. Forget all that free stuff. Roll up a joint right now. I will shine. Am I born right now? I will shine. Am I born right now? But don't leave. Marijuana won't leave me. My blood won't leave.
Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you feel responsible? Do you feel that your music has a responsibility?
No. I think what comes with the way I make my songs, the way it's freestyle, I'm really not putting much thought into it. So it's really a reflection of how I'm living. Like, I didn't press record for that song and say to myself, I'm going to make a song about being responsible.
Okay.
I hit record, and that's what came out of my mouth. So if I'm not being responsible in my life, then you'd hear it in the songs. I'd be saying something totally different.
Right.
There's
That's
another
very,
song on the album
very,
about
yeah,
not being responsible as well. It's really just how I feel in the time. So any preconceived things that I think I should say or do, I can't even have in my mind.
Right. So, listening to you speak reminds me of something that James Baldwin once wrote, the activist and poet and playwright. He said that art has to be a kind of confession. And what you just spoke about was really a kind of confession, and that is there's no filtering or no monitoring of what you're saying or thinking in your music. It just is. It's just there. Was that a good way of putting it? It just is.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
So with that in mind, what advice would you have given yourself? Advice would you give your 13-year-old self, knowing at what point you are now in your music to allow yourself that kind of freedom? So what would you say to your 13-year-old self to sort of maybe even get them to think in terms of putting them on that road to self-awareness and discovery in their art?
I think as I'm getting older, I realize myself and other adults, we have an amount of energy to pick a couple things we love and do those things. And sometimes adults make you think as a kid, you also can only do those things. You also only have the energy for those things. I wish I knew at 13 years old, I could play football and do music at the same time. I'm a kid. I have all the energy in the world. I couldn't do that right now.
Right.
I couldn't put my all into music and my all into football right now. But I totally could back then, and it would have been cool to hear like how it would sound if I was making music when I was 13.
That's a very, very insightful, self-insightful or reflective, certainly. And I think So, am I detecting a note of regret, or is it just that's what it is?
No, yeah, I like the timing of everything. Timing's important. I think whenever I start to feel regret in that scenario, I think to myself, maybe I wouldn't like the things I would have said in that mindset to be recorded. I don't want to go back and think about what I was thinking.
Yeah, be careful when the mic's on, Josh. You might say something you regret.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I think now, I think it's cool that the only music I have out is as trying to become a mature adult. I was gonna say as a mature adult, but I mean, at least on a journey in that direction.
or a more responsive. I'm not going to say responsible, but because I don't like that word in and of itself, and I don't want to assume one way. I don't want to speak to your responsibility, but I think responsive, and that is you're rolling with the punches. You know, like, let's face it, we just got dealt another punch today. You know, with the province in a month-long lockdown. Like, you know, give us a break here. And so we have to seek refuge in our music at home and our writing at home and our conversing like this and talking about our passions, because it would be so easy for that passion to slip into an abyss that we can't get back. And you know, we are all responsive to one another. And I think that's what really turns me on about this show, is that I can reach out to somebody that I met at a Tokyo Smoke and then turn around and have this kind of a conversation. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman is responsible for selling me this, and I'm so grateful to him. It helps me write. Anyway, I think that's the point I think I would like to make in all of this, is that the one thing that everybody turned to in their time of need of some kind of comfort was some kind of art form on the internet. And that was the form, that was what was affected the most in many ways by this COVID, where I have opera friends, singer friends that haven't opened their mouth for a production yet. And that's, you know, since it all started. And I mean, they've sung, but nothing like it was at one, and it may never be. But
no, it's hard. A lot of people, like, I like recording music and stuff, but my favorite thing about music is performing. And I really was hoping last summer was going to be the year of performances, but that obviously didn't happen. So it's kind of hard to, like, I think that's what led me to putting more effort into the production of this album, more so than ever, because I sat with them longer rather than perform them and gave them a different kind of energy.
And again, so now that you have this other perspective and responsiveness to your art, is there any kind of commentary you can make about one over the other, or one with the other, or in terms of... Like,
I mean, again, it's all in the timing. So I feel like at that time, I just made all I needed for that time, used it to get me somewhere else.
Right.
And then this one, I put as much as I needed into this one, to then next, maybe I don't record it at home by myself. Maybe I go to an actual studio and see how that works.
Right.
Or, I think I purposely left myself steps. Like, even for Sad Summer, I thought about, well, what if I just go to a studio and re-record everything and polish it? And then I thought to myself, no, I think this is another step.
Really? Yeah.
I think it's something about keeping that original freestyle.
Absolutely. I also think it might be having too much time on your hands to think.
Definitely.
No, I call it talking yourself out of the right answer on a test. That's, we don't trust ourselves. I just wrote that.
For sure.
And we don't trust the knowledge that we have, or we're not trusting the process of preparing for the test. And yeah, I mean, we all have setbacks. And so what is your was there a no turning back moment in your life that I mean, I know you said that segueing from, if that's the word, from football into music, that there was no question of that. That was just, it was what it was. But was there ever a sense of, was it during that time that you were working with your father in his business, that the impetus to get you moving again, or to not turn your back on your music, as it were? Was there ever a moment in your life where you said, no, I'm not going to say I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to do it?
I think it was, I hadn't recorded for a few years.
Okay.
And then I was, working with my dad. And I was living up at Yonge and Eglinton. And I just got a new mic. And
that's exciting.
I wasn't even jamming or anything with band members or anything like that yet. So I was just kind of playing around with the microphone, and I recorded just kind of like a vocal practice.
Right.
And then I listened back to it and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a song. Like, that's kind of a full song on its own. And that's what got my brain going. I'm like, let me just keep doing this over and over again. Just keep hitting record on different beats off of YouTube. And I was like, I thought to myself, I don't think this is normal. I'm like, maybe, I'm like, this could be cool. So I just kept doing it.
And
so
guess what?
Once I heard that first freestyle, I was like, okay, I should just keep doing music this way. Once I found the way, like, before then, I was just doing whatever came, jamming with whoever, just never had my own way of doing it. And once I found that, I was like, okay, this is something I can build on. Let's keep building. Let's go. Yeah.
And are you building with some other people in common that you built from things like, is there a group now that you're working with again?
So I kind of, for all these instruments, I'm still working with the same people that we were jamming with, just kind of separately. So like for Recess, Cam came over, played the guitar, and then I kind of played around with it on my computer, and then thought, oh, I should send this to Jordan to play bass line. So I ended up just sending that to him, and then he played the bass line and sent it back to me. So for Responsible, a friend of the group, Andrew, started jamming with us a little bit. And then those were just freestyles at his house.
Okay.
He was playing the acoustic guitar, and then I freestyled. And then we recorded on top of it again of him playing the electric guitar and me doing another vocal layer, and just built the song like that. So it's still the people I would be in a band with, just I had to kind of put it together myself because
the process is very, very different. Yeah. And did you feel you had more creative control this way?
Definitely.
So maybe that's part of the smart work that's involved.
I need, when I bring it to someone else, I need to be already like my sound.
Right.
Recess was very on the fly because Cam was playing the guitar. But most of the other ones on this album, Andrew's playing that right beside me on the fly. And some of them started as kind of loops I already had working on by myself. And then I thought, okay, now it needs some real instruments. And once I think, okay, who can I ask that I've jammed with? And kind of just built songs that way.
Sounds like you're a very blessed young man to have these people that you can call upon, and that they would, that's a blessing to have, really. Yeah. Especially. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think that speaks to the kind of the vibe we created at the Rehearsal Factory. We would just invite whoever wanted to come, and people would just have a good time. And whenever I asked them, hey, do you want to work on this? They just thought about the time they had at the Rehearsal Factory with us, and they're like, yeah, of course.
So share with the listeners, what is your immediate vision for the future in terms of the album, the approximate time for release that you're going to drop it, and just whatever else you want to say about your future before we sign off here.
So Sad Summer is in the mixing process. Kind of put some final touches on it today, right before this call. So I'm thinking.
Well, we're not gonna.
I'm thinking early May.
Great.
I was hoping mid-April, but again, we started taking more time with it than I thought, and I like that, so I'm thinking early May.
That's the smart work. Again, I keep saying that because that's one of the hardest concepts for me as an entrepreneurial mentor to get across to anyone, but particularly younger people, because they're used to things happening a lot faster. And the lesson that you've learned about letting it marinate, so to speak, and a lot more flavor can be had if you allow it to marinate. And it sounds like you've learned that.
For sure.
And so, how many songs on the album?
Just 5 songs. 5 songs.
Wonderful, excellent, ladies and gentlemen. It's been my immense pleasure. Very quickly. I asked you about being a Gemini. I mean, you told me you're a Gemini. I want to quickly do this before we sign off. It's a bit of fun here, Josh. I have a zodiac sign book. I'm going to read something, and you can say true or false.
Okay.
You're a games player.
What, sorry?
You are a games player. This is your,
okay.
Okay. Who will flirt with anyone who throws you a casual glance?
I don't
True
know.
or false? Okay. Suck in those cheeks and pucker up those lips for another great performance in the art of seduction. Whoa, Gemini, you're smoking hot here.
Wow. This is a fiery Gemini they're describing.
What's that?
It's a fiery Gemini they're describing.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, you're a master of smooth talk, and can be more slippery than an eel. Wow. Your playful, easygoing nature makes you a fun guy to be around if anyone can catch you. Well, Josh, on that quick note, I got to spend more time with Geminis.
I guess. I think
anyway,
that last one sounded true.
You've always got a great smile on your face whenever I've met up with you, so that speaks volumes in any situation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is JP Michaels reporting to you live or signing off from the Academy of Enlightenment with my guest tonight, the Josh the Loser. I have to get my tongue around the loser every time. I want to say the winner. You're winning hearts here. That's it. Anyway. Thank you so much, Josh, for really sharing your thoughts and your process. I really enjoyed our talk about your process. Thank you so much. All the best in your future endeavors, and we'll be seeing you soon at
I'll
Tokyo
definitely
Shop.
see you soon.
Namaste.
Bye, everyone.
Ladies
Thanks
and
for coming.
gentlemen. Thanks, guys. Take care.